Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good vibes, good energy, good people. It's your boy Mickey Fenty, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do to this channel. Subscribe right now. Also, if you want to support my brand, it's inspired by dreams.shop. We got a lot of new drops. I got a new dope jacket in there. You guys gotta go check it out if you want to dress different and just get your drip on. Okay, today's episode. This is very important in the times we are living right now. Throughout this fussing and fighting about what America is, what it's supposed to be, or what it should be, we got to start realizing, like I always tell you guys, if you're not tuning into my lives, you are missing out. America, do you want to move all of the immigrants and move everything that you say immigrants ain't did this, immigrants ain't did that? Because at the end of the day, who is going to do that work? Americans? You're going to leave it up to America. Right now, America is dealing with a mental health crisis. I don't even think that Americans are even stable enough to go to war. And it's because this is the first time we are seeing that our kids are not doing better than us. And once people started to realize, and it's because they don't want to do the same thing as their parents because they're realizing it was all a trap. Once that realization set in, that's when the questions are being thrown out there. So for the people that just think that, oh no, we got this, we can do this all by ourselves, what would America be with only American products? We got to come together, no matter how you like it, no matter what you say. If we don't come together and work this out as a whole, as a melting pot, like what made us what we are, then we're going to find ourselves in these predicaments. And let me just tell you something, a little strength for the people that don't understand it. See, the thing with immigrants, yeah, people might look at us or people that from different places like, you know, super strength, because I'm a first gen. I was born in America, but my parents were immigrants and they worked hard. But if you take that away and you expect other people to fulfill that, so all the time you guys talking about, oh, you need vacations and the extra, who's gonna you're gonna do it. You're not the Mex. See, what happens is the Mexicans, all the people, everybody that was coming in trying to help with America, now they're getting pushed out. So now it's like, okay, and you don't understand. People that come from less could sustain more than people that don't understand how to sustain where they started from. Because no matter what, it wasn't like, if you work for everything that you have, then you don't feel any way if somebody takes away something you didn't work for. So you have to work at any level. So even if they take it away, you can get it back again. That's what makes Americans, and that's what makes us all come together in this melting pot and help America grow. Now we're seeing the unalive rates. Yeah, they're skyrocketing. They're not going to tell you that. You want to know why? Because telling you guys that people are unaliving themselves on a daily basis is going to cause more trauma. So they'd rather lie to you and make you think what it is than what it actually is. So you guys pay attention, listen to the conversation, and if you like this conversation, or you want to hear more conversations and different things that people don't necessarily want to talk about, subscribe right now. Love you guys and thanks for the support. Let's get it.
Mickey made it. Mickey made what you made, Mickey?
Mickey made it.
We gotta come together.
Salute, Mickey. Grand rising to you.
Mickey made it. What's up, man? Salute.
Salute, my people. Brothers and sisters.
Americans, how are we feeling? You know, the last week has been heavy, right? Like, I'm feeling it. I know y'all feeling it. Like, I guess this is just like a check-in. Like, how's your mental health? Like, I feel like America right now needs an American mental health therapist. Like, how are we doing? Like, are we staying prayed up? Are we talking to one another? Are we isolating? Are we upset? Are we mad? Do we want to get even? Are we ready to protest? Are we ready to stand up? Are we sitting down? Like, how are we feeling? Because I'm feeling from social media, just the frustration, just the sadness, just the heaviness of just, and it's just like we knew it was coming. Like, we've all heard about 2025, but I don't think that a lot of us had really paid attention to Project 2025. Maybe we didn't think that all of these things were going to start happening so fast. Like, how are we feeling? And if nobody's told you today, I love you. And I know that it seems like it's just like one thing after another. Like every day that we wake up, the last week has just been something else. How are you feeling? Because I think it's important to talk about how we are feeling. Like, our feelings are valid. Our feelings matter. So let's talk about it.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. But the problem is our communities are divided. For Asian Americans and for African Americans, we probably have one of the worst relationships between any community.
Well, I bet you a lot of Asian Americans too in my experience, don't even realize that if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, there would not be 22 million Asian Americans in this country.
Thank you. What I have been trying to teach the Asian community is friends, do you understand that your success, your prosperity, your civil rights that you enjoy right now was paid for with black blood?
Why is the mental health problem so bad in America? We're too damn spoiled over here. Think about it. Most Americans complain about having to work 40 hours a week.
People are waking up. We're not the greedy ones.
That's nothing. 40 hours a week is nothing. There's people that used to work 16, 18 hours a day. Right. There's still people in other countries that work 16 hours a day on a farm and get paid nothing. Why do you think Mexicans come over here and they always got a smile on their face? They always got a smile on their face. They work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. They drink their beer, whatever, but they're happy. They're happy. You know why? Because the way a lot of people in other countries were raised, that to get paid a decent wage for your work is a privilege. We were raised not really knowing that. We're spoiled. It just is what it is. People in America are spoiled. We're used to getting things handed to us. You got the government there to help you out. And it is what it is. A lot of people from other countries come over here and it's a privilege to be able to work and get paid a decent wage to where you can live a decent life over here. And we complain about everything. And as soon as something don't work out for us, as soon as something don't go our way, what do? We turn to drugs and alcohol to deal with it. I don't think that people in other countries really do that. Look at life from a different perspective and be thankful for what you have. Understand that we have it made over here in America. Real shit.
Is America diverse, or did we just colonize a bunch of places?
Say more.
As kids, we hear America's a country built on immigrants. Diversity is our strength. America is a land of opportunity for immigrants. A lot of the reasons immigrants came here looking for opportunities was because their countries were bombed by America or by our allies. Diversity for a lot of America's history meant the servants looked different and can cook you different kinds of food. We've got to be real about what built us into the country we are today. If we sanitize history and we just start painting America as the shining city on a hill, when in reality, for so many people, America meant bombs, becoming a refugee, showing up and scrapping for success in a land where you don't speak the language. If we forget that, we're not actually talking about America. We're actually just talking about a fantasy.
Honestly, just living in America is one of the biggest ways to dysregulate your nervous system. You could do all the work you need to. You could be doing all the breath work, all the mindfulness, all the meditations, making sure you move your body, right? Making sure you're practicing gratitude, journaling, taking your vitamins, all that stuff, and still feel unwell, unsettled. Especially if you're one of the millions of people who do not have the luxury to simply disconnect, right? Because being able to disconnect in itself is a privilege, and a privilege that many of us do not have. So in working with individuals, I do not overemphasize the power of having to be this completely regulated person, because that's not really practical and realistic, and it isn't needed, because the reality is you're going to feel some shit and your emotions are needed, like right now, for example.
Out of curiosity, I just asked ChatGPT which country has the highest rate of anxiety and depression, and it gave me an answer dividing them into two categories. So like top 3 countries that has the highest rate of anxiety and top 3 countries that has the highest rate of depression. And there's only one country that has made both lists. Can you guess which country it is? Top 3 countries that has the highest rate of anxiety is Brazil, United States, Norway. Top 3 country that has the highest rate of depression, Ukraine, United States, India. So of course it leads me to wonder that if the United States is such a great first world country, why is everyone anxious and depressed?
You have been feeling stressed out and dysregulated by what's going on in our country right now. Welcome to the club. If you're concerned about it, great, you're on the right side of history. Good for you. Yeah, now is the time for us to fortify our inner reserves. This is the time to really focus on creating inner sanctuary within your body. So like being able to regulate your nervous system and creating sanctuary at home, at work, wherever you can. When there's so much going on collectively, like yes, we'll protest, we'll do our very best to be a part of the resistance. But, you know, when we're just sitting like on our couch consuming news without actually any plan to do anything about it. Like, yes, stay informed, but at a certain point you're just racking your nervous system for no reason and it's not doing anything for the world or for you in your life. So as much as we want to take in that information, we also want to pause from that and also have a gratitude practice. So I want you to take stock of what's going well in your life, who your supports are, the things that you need to lean into. This is the time to fortify what's going well for you. You can have things going great for you at home or in your life, even while collectively it feels like we're in a free fall. Just make sure that you're balancing those things. You're allowed to personally be at a good place while collectively things are bad. In fact, I urge you to get yourself in as good of a place as you can be, whether you go to therapy or coaching or finding a community that can support you. Take the time. This is the time to do self-care. It's not frivolous.
Some of y'all are going to disagree with me on this, but let me fill y'all in on something. 1 out of every 5 Americans suffer from a mental illness. Over 1 out of every 10 suffer from depression. Now, that's like 42.5 million Americans. In 2022, over 49,000 people committed suicide in the United States. I cannot stress to you how important self-care is. Self-care, mental health breaks, and, you know, eating healthy and exercise. And the reason why I say that helps with the mental health is because a lot of the stuff that's put in Americans' foods, that is contributing to some of these numbers. And did you know that the state of Utah has more antidepressants and mental illness medication prescribed than any state in the United States? But hold up. These are not my numbers. Go research it. So I'm really big on self-care, other than popping pills. I really push self-care. And some of you ask, well, what do you do for your self-care? Eat cleaner. Exercise a little more often. And meditate. And if you're in a situation that you feel like you can't get out of, change it.
Last week I spoke to a mother who had lost her child to suicide, and she told me that there were no signs. No warning signs, nothing that tipped her off. Just took her by surprise. And that blindsided the whole family. I hear stories like that often. And as me and this mother spoke, it became clear to me a couple of things. Number one, the mental health crisis amongst the kids it's as bad as it's ever been. Number two, we're not talking about it enough. And number three, it appears as if we have no solution. You have to understand that when somebody decides to take their own life, they may or may not have a mental health condition. A lot of times they do, sometimes they don't. But at the core feature of every person who has decided to take their own life is hopelessness. I like to refer to hope as a window, right? Even at your lowest moment, you have like a little bit of hope, right? At rock bottom, most times you have just a little bit of hope, right? So that window of hope is cracked open. It might not be open all the way, but it's cracked open. If we have a little bit of hope, we're going to stick around and see what happens tomorrow. But when that window shuts, then you have hopelessness, and that's the core feature of suicidal ideation. So even if you feel helpless and down and out, we can work with that. But when you're hopeless, you have this belief that things are not going to get better. Your best days are in the past, and there's no reason to continue living. And in terms of the solution, obviously we know that more doctors, nurses, social workers, therapists will help. More ERs, inpatient centers, outpatient centers, residential, partial hospitalization, intensive outpatient. All those things that's the answer, yes. Those things are helpful. However, I think what we're missing is connection. I think now is the hardest time to be a teenager. It was hard when I was in high school, but I think things are a lot more amplified, if I'm being honest. A lot more amplified with social media, with pressure from peers. Since COVID, things have been much worse. Now is the hardest time to be a kid. And as adults, I think we can help out by listening, number one, but also by sharing our own stories. If you've struggled with substance use, or if you've had, suicidal thoughts, like AJ Brown, Super Bowl champion AJ Brown. I miss him on the Titans, but he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. Talked about having suicidal thoughts and got help, and that paves the way for other people who are feeling the same way to do the same. But when we play it cool and we act like we're all good and we have no issues, it's gonna make it hard for the youth to connect with us. So if you have a personal story where you've had those thoughts, or if you struggle with substance use, or if you've struggled with things that bring about guilty feelings, or things that you're ashamed about, that's the missing piece. That's the missing piece. And being able to connecting with the youth is going to allow us to talk to them. Because if people don't know that you care, they're not going to listen to you. That's not just kids, it's anybody. So as I had that conversation with that lady, I thought to myself, what are some ways that we can show the kids that we care? Number one, we gotta listen. Sometimes we feel like we have the answers, but we have to listen, number one. That's first and foremost. Number two, I think we have to speak the language of the kids. Like we have to speak their language. And when you give mental health education and it's too complex, or you're using big words, or you're not, if things aren't in the right context, nobody's listening. On May the 4th in Los Angeles, we're going to be having this Youth Mental Wellness Day, and I'm part of a coalition of people here in Los Angeles who, I'm not in LA at the moment, but I'm a part of a coalition of people in LA. We call it the Los Angeles Youth Mental Health Coalition. This is therapists, doctors, social workers, people from the LA County of Department of Mental Health, and we all have a vested interest in helping out the youth. And what I want to do is I want this to be a model for how other people can improve teen mental health awareness, not just in their cities, but also around the world. So on May the 4th, it's going to be a Sunday. We'll be doing something for the youth, and I'm thinking of ways to connect with the kids, not just, shooting the breeze. Like, I want to connect with the kids. I want to have real conversations. And in my mind, I have this genius. I think it's genius. I got this plan about this this youth field day, where we'll have a couple of mental health workstations where we'll do some mental health education. Right, we'll talk about depression and bipolar disorder and ADHD and autism and PTSD and anxiety. We'll talk about mental health, but we're gonna have these stations set up where we're playing flag football over there, basketball over here. I got friends who are barbers. I'll invite them to come out. Maybe we're giving some free haircuts over here. Maybe a makeup station for the girls and for the guys who want that. Just this big field day where we can connect with the kids. And I'm a big kid myself, so I'll be playing flag football. I don't think anybody can catch me. I'm 32, but I'm still faster than any kid I know or any teenagers that I know. So I think a big youth field day, kind of like in second grade where you had tug of war and you're playing with other kids, something like that to connect the youth. That's what my plan is. So that's going to be May the 4th. I'm excited about it. I think this would be a great way for us to connect with the generation that's coming up, because keep in mind, these are going to be the adults who rule the world in a couple of years. So we can, you can prescribe medications, you can, admit people to the hospital. All of those things are the right answer, but I think if people don't know whether you care or not, we won't be able to connect. So
America was built on the backs of immigrants, on the backs of people like my parents. Diversity is what makes this country so great. America is about embracing people of all ethnicities, races, and religions. And we do not need people like you in this country, in my country.
I remember once I was having a very, very hard time finding work, and I was behind on my mortgage, so I was terrified I was going to lose my house. And the stress of it had almost paralyzed me into a deep depression, and I was drinking a lot. One night, I got really wasted, and I'm like, I would rather than lose my house and everything I've ever worked for. This ended up with me in the hospital, and I was put on a 72-hour hold, pink slipped or whatever, where I wasn't allowed to leave the inpatient/rehab place. I tried to make the best of it. However, it's kind of hard to when you only talk to the doctor once your entire time. That it was ridiculous. But hey, I got home, and I'm like, all right, I'm sober now. I'm going to get on my stuff. I'm going to, find a job. I'm going to make this work. And it was almost that exact day that I got the bill for my inpatient stay, which was over $6,000 on top of the $2,000 I was behind on my mortgage. Oh, and $2,000 of that charge was literally the ambulance ride from the hospital to the inpatient center, which was 5 minutes away. I could have walked. And all I could think was, next time I do something like this, and it's looking more and more likely, I can never tell anybody, because I can't afford even more debt. But hey, we've come so far, apparently, in terms of mental health systems in America.
Before we unpack this, I just want to say to all of my supporters and everybody that always leaves me good word and loving comments and appreciating my wisdom, I wanted to let you guys know I really love you guys, and I'm so appreciative that just bringing you the proper information and just a different sense of an outlook of what's going on. So let's just say a word from the wise. Me, myself, I have a hard working type of mentality when it comes down to doing the right thing for my people. And what people don't understand is I don't mind working my behind off for you to go on your vacations all through the year. I don't mind that. But it's the thing that I do mind when it's time for my one little vacation, so I can celebrate and sit within myself and know my sacrifices were not for you, but for my family. I do not need to be belittled, I do not need to be interrupted, and I definitely do not need to be put down by somebody that didn't put in half of the work that I put in to get there, just because you have some ownership or you feel like you're going to twist and turn the story. That's number one. When it comes down to my own people out there. There's not everybody. See, the leadership in me says, you know what? I'm going to open people's minds to see how things really are. But I'm going to bring my wisdom with it so people can learn from that and sharpen their wisdom at the same time, instead of just blurting out these conversations that people don't have no understanding of. The whole thing that America and everything we all built on is one hand wash the other. Just because you might have more money in this field, I might could help you in the medical field, or I might could take some things that I learned from my family and bring it to your family and help you out with your problems and cure your solutions. We all need each other in this melting pot. And the more we start pushing people away and saying, you can't do this and you can't do that, or this block is mine and you don't own it, we're going to find ourselves in a place where the people from the bottom, they're going to be able to sustain. You know why? Because they know what it is to go down there from the root. While the people on the top, they want a vacation all the time. So when things don't go their way, they scatter and unalive themselves because they have no foundation within themselves. You guys let me know what you think about this conversation. I always felt, and y'all know, coming together is way more powerful than separating and being so destructive. It's not a fight about money. It's good versus evil. Good people don't like to see other people doing bad. They want to help them out so they can have a form of sense of being a good person too. When you take on that type of mindset, you take on that type of wisdom, that sharpness alone will sustain you through a life of destruction, of people that's trying to tell you who you are or belittle you. You guys let me know down in the conversation. I love you guys, you know that. And I appreciate all the love you've been giving me. Yes, I just use my wisdom to help other people. Until next time, it's your boy Mickey Fenty, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do to this channel. Subscribe. Bye.